Wrestling doesn't need to be hard. I think that's what we've learned over the last 24 hours, because John Cena did have his last appearance in Boston, his hometown, on Monday Night Raw, and to use a phrase that will soon be on a wall behind me, can't give too much away, it made me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Didn't need to overcomplicate it, didn't need to overthink it, didn't need to do a crazy match that had 42,792 moves, although I like that as well, because wrestling should always be like a dessert cart. You get to pick what sweet treat you do want to eat. And it also meant, for what I thought was a very fun episode of Raw, I had a good time. Please do make sure you hit that subscribe button if you enjoy any of the content you see today. And look, I have dumb t-shirts as well. That's one way to advertise it, by pulling it over your head. Pro Wrestling Tees, you can find me there. And other wrestlers, and it's good to support wrestlers, because it just is. It's the nature of the beast. Let's go. So Triple H came out for some reason, had to spend about 10 years talking about why John Cena is the GOAT, but he is the GOAT. And the more praise and the more love and the more adulation we can give him, why the flub, not John Cena, comes out. Also announced on December 13th, which is his last in-ring match on that Saturday night's main event. It's going to be him versus the winner of the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament, but also main roster guys versus NXT guys and girls in order to give back to the business, which is what John Cena's been talking about for ages. I like it, and I think somebody should be called up, I should say, on that show, because they beat somebody massive. They go straight into a feud. Oba Femi would be in there, Trick Williams would be in there, Javon Evans would be in there, and JC Jane could be in there. There's other people I'm probably not thinking of as well. Sol Ruka, but is she injured? Is she not injured? I don't know. But I think one person, I would pick Oba Femi if Oba Femi is not going to be in that tournament. And if Oba Femi is not going to win the John Cena tournament, he shouldn't be in it, right? When Oba Femi gets to the main roster, that Mother Hubbard shouldn't lose for ages, because that dude could also be an absolute super duper whooper star if we just give him some time. But that's very exciting, and it's actually a yearly concept you could make as a pay-per-view if you absolutely want to honor John Cena, like in NFL or American football. When they retire a jersey, that could be wrestling sort of pat on the back to say, oh, we're going to have this pay-per-view for ages. And why the hell not? I mean, the other day, TKO even said, oh, we want to move away from Vince McMahon pay-per-views. All right, well, there you have it. You have hands coming together right there. I think we should do. Dominic Mysterio comes out, has the greatest line of all time. It should be me interrupting old men. That's what he wants to do with his life. That's his dream. John Cena then does the fine speech. I think we've heard a fine speech for ages either. I'm so damn happy. Maybe I've just forgotten it because I'm an idiot. Tears Dominic Mysterio a new one, basically by saying, I'm so pumped up on adrenaline, I'm going to whip your ass. And because Triple H is in the ring, we get the IC title match. Thank goodness we did this promo beforehand. My big worry, because it kind of got rumored earlier in the day, is that the match would be completely impromptu. I needed to hear Dominic Mysterio yell at John Cena, and I needed to hear John Cena yell at Dom. If I was going to be a massive nerd, would it have been better if I'd got a whole Raw dedicated to them having a promo off and the match next week? Yes. But the sheer unexpectedness and the sheer impulsiveness on this made it so damn better, so more fun. And when they announced the match did get started and the bell rang, the place went crazy because, of course, it is Boston. John Cena's entrance was ridiculous. Maybe that was more ridiculous. And as for the end, that could have been even more ridiculous still. Because, John Cena won the IC Championship, and I have no problems with it whatsoever, especially in WWE right now. Well, actually, I bring AEW into that as well. There's this idea that all championship reigns need to go on for 4,722 days. They don't. Just strike when the iron is hot, and this was absolutely perfect. You could feel it in the air. Nobody wants to see John Cena lose. Nobody wants to see anybody run down, do interference or distractions. We just wanted to see somebody who is on a pedestal, who is widely considered one of the best ever, and is absolutely in the conversation, win the championship that he's never won. He hits the AA after we'd done some Eddie Guerrero gloriousness, and Dominic had tried to walk out at one point, even though essentially he made the challenge. Cena gets the 1, 2, 3. Place explodes. Again, he's now won every single belt, and he can either go into that final on December the 13th and retire as the champion, which is what we did with Sting in AEW, and it was wonderful and it made you cry, or he can lose it to somebody and super put them over. Let's say it is Gunther that's going to win. I predicted Gunther in my predictions video for the tournament. Please do check it out, even though my brackets are completely wrong, but I tried my best. Gunther becoming, would it be the second time he won it? Well, we all remember when he had it last time for 666 days, which goes back to that conversation. But if Gunther wins it back and he beats John Cena, there's your 2026, right? You talk about it, you yell about it, you go on about it, you drive people crazy. And if not, that's fine too, because even if it is Gunther once again, he's Gunther. No one's going to be like, you're a crap wrestler now, Gunther, because you lost to John Cena. And then maybe you have something exciting for early January where we're going to have to crown a brand new IC champion. I could even tie into the Royal Rumble. I wonder what you could do. Not the winner. I don't want to do that. I don't know. There could be something there. I need to think about it more rather than just shout this stuff out during a video. But in terms of the opening to shows, Somebody out there won't like it, and I'd love to hear from you. You can drop me a comment down there, obviously. But I just thought it was great. It was so easy to watch. It was so much fun. John Cena celebrating when Dominic Mysterio tapped out after the FTF. Even though the referee had knocked out, it was like, John, you've been doing this a long time. You're very experienced. I understand why we did it. It was to try and trick you. Be like, you think John Cena's going to lose now? Because he had the visual victory, but he were not going to do that. Even the match itself. It was so damn simple. I've said that on a few videos today. It was just like a house show match. But we didn't need to do more than a house show match because John Cena was mega over and Dominic Mysterio was mega over and the fans were into it. So all you had to do was give them a move, let them appreciate it. Do a spot, let them appreciate it. Do the Eddie Guerrero stuff, let them appreciate it. I just thought it was joyous and it made me happy. And that's why we watch wrestling. It's meant to be a distraction. It's meant to be some nonsense that we tune into. Well, we tune into it a lot because there's so many programs. And for that 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever the flub it may be, you can just enjoy this silliness that we are seeing on the screen. I thought it was excellent. And given that John Cena does retire in basically a month, what a wonderful rubber stamped. What has been a crazy year. I am not as mad at the heel turn as some people because in terms of the moment on the Elimination Chamber and some of the promos are just having a whale of a time. But sure, in hindsight, it probably would have been better if we hadn't have done that. But I'd also say that this stuff we're getting now wouldn't have been as good if we hadn't done that either, because it all kind of ties in, right? I think the reason we're enjoying these last 6 months is because the first 6 months were so crazy. And also the first 6 months would have been better if we didn't have Travis Scott walk into the ring for half his life and if The Rock was able to stay involved. But these things didn't happen, so there's no point crying over spilt milk. John Cena, the brand new IC champion, the only IC championship we'll ever win, to complete the pack. I think Dominic Mysterio did benefit from this because I thought his performance was great, from the microphone to, getting his ass whipped. No notes. Brilliant. Had a great old time. If you're not going to watch it, you should. And it was kind of the same for the main event as well. Like Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss taking on the Kabuki Warriors. Really good match. I kind of expected Asuka and Kairi Sane to win, so that's sort of tied in. The only thing I didn't like is when Nia Jax and Lash Legend turned up. I talked about this on SmackDown. Didn't like SmackDown for all those people that say, oh, you're so positive all the time. Well, I wasn't positive on that. But I was actually positive, because you can be positive and critical at the same time as I yell at myself. But I knew there was just a reason we put Lash and Nia Jax together. I just knew there was a reason we were doing this secondary feud, and it was just to create this nonsense. Let Lash and Nia be the next team. We don't need to have multiple feuds all at once. I think it's just, what's the word I'm even looking for? Not aggressive. That's not right. It's redundant. That's a much better word. The Kabuki Warriors could have beaten Charlotte and Alexa because they're awesome, or because they cheat, or because they're submissed, or because, Asuka yells at Kairi, go get a chair or something. Any kind of shenanigans like that. But people coming out and physically breaking up the figure eight, as Charlotte Flair had, and the commentators are all like, oh my gosh, she had the match won. Nothing wrong with it, to be honest, and it's very WWE, but it was just too on the nose, and it's something that WWE has done too much in 2025, especially because now this could have led to Nia Jax and Lash Legend getting together, and the Kabuki Warriors have been so good, especially Asuka since she's come back, who could be a rest of the year contender, even though she's been around 4 months or so. They could win just by winning. I just think it gives them more heat, it gives them more whatever the flub it would be. It wasn't bad. It just irked me a little bit, right? I became a nerd in that moment. But otherwise, the Kabuki Warriors being the champions was excellent. The match was really fun. Like, it was really, really, really good. And then afterwards, we had WrestleMania 40, right? Because all the bad guys beat up the good guys. So out comes Io Sky, out comes Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley goes, War Games. Because you have to say War Games if you want War Games. Otherwise, it doesn't get blown into existence. You have to say the words. Also hilarious, why didn't Io Sky and Rhea come out together? What plan did they have? Right, here's the plan, guys. Io, you go out. I trust you. I got a lot of confidence in you. I think you can beat up 4 or 5 people. And then Rhea's like, oh, fine, I better go. Fair play to Rhea again. I'm pretty sure it was last year's War Games when she had to do the same thing. She broke her nose in Australia in that pay-per-view, so she's got her big face mask on. What a warrior. What an absolute monster. Some people still like to pretend that Rhea Ripley isn't a star. I saw this argument on social media the other day, and of course social media is not real. But I was like, you really have to go... You really have to reach far and make some stuff up in your head to actually believe that. She's one of the biggest stars on the roster, as this reaction proved. Like, a lot of these matches on this Raw didn't have a lot of heat because the Boston crowd, fair play to you, wore themselves out on that John Cena match. There's nothing wrong with that. That happens, right? We all have a certain amount of MP. If you use your MP up and you don't restore it with a drink or a lovely beverage, that's what's going to happen. But Io Sky, massive pop, and Rhea Ripley, super huge pop. It's a bit weird that Nia Jax and Lash Legend, I presume, are going to be in the War Games team. Where did that come from? But these are just sort of minor annoyances for me. I imagine most people won't care. But brand new tag team champions is awesome. I just hope we can throw a few more teams in there, like Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Because again, the women's championship on Raw that we'll talk about in just 1 second, that's now existing over here, so that all these guys can exist over here. And I think that's great, right? Let's build these women's tag team championships. Because once again, WWE has allowed, well, I guess Charlotte and Alexa and whoever else, to rebuild them. and it has momentum, and it's fun, and we're getting good matches, and we're getting interesting stories. What usually happens at this time is they all vanish. But if Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are going to be taking on the Kabuki Warriors, which does tie into Crown Jewel, or whatever the hell that pay-per-view was called, you can't muck around with them. They're two bigger stars. They're doing such good work. So all of this was a net positive and a great end to Raw. Not only did you have the IC title change hands at the start, but at the end, you had this too. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm having a good old time. And it was the same for Stephanie Vaquer versus Raquel Rodriguez. It's my favorite sentence of all time. Raquel Rodriguez was getting her women's title shot because Roxanne Perez won a tag team match last week. It's the most WWE thing ever. Good match, had fun. Nikki Bella was out there, Roxy was out there. Obviously, Stephanie Vaquer can't pick up Raquel Rodriguez because she's too jacked. No mercy rules back on the N64. Eventually, she hit the Devil's Kiss, of course. And she got a corkscrew moonsault. That's why it's always good to have a secondary finisher, because we sold the fact, well, you can't pick up Rodriguez. What are we going to do? So you hit it with an agility maneuver instead. 1, 2, 3. I think in 2026, once Liv Morgan has come back, whatever the flub we're going to do with the Judgment Day and Raquel and Roxanne, there is more here for Raquel Rodriguez. She has found herself. She's in her lane. She understands who she wants to be. She could be a dominant champion. Maybe summertime 2026, we need to change things up. But we wait and see. That's looking way too far down the line. I presume this was just a holding pattern until next week, because there's nothing else that Nikki and Steph can do now. We've basically beaten Roxanne and Raquel enough. So I thought we'd get to next week, maybe Stephanie Vaquer gets a promo, but no. Nikki Bella chases off Roxanne Perez because she wants to be an asshole, smashes Stephanie Vaquer in the face with the belt, and she goes heel. She also took off a red top to reveal a black top. Yeah, I'm happy this made me. That's the kind of wrestling I want. It's like when a wrestler goes heel, then comes back the next week and they're all in black and they got new angry entrance music. It's like, what happened? Why have you completely changed? So it does work for some people, not for others. But I felt as soon as Nikki Bella had done this, her whole persona changed and her whole aura changed, to use stupid 2025 words. And I think it was the right thing to do. And it also allows Stephanie Vaquer to have a proper feud against somebody that I think you're allowed to call Nikki Bella a legend, right? She did bring loads of people to watch WWE, thanks to Total Bellas. I mean, you can criticize her in-ring work till the cows come home. I think she's been really good since she has returned. And even towards the end of her first or second reign, I can't remember, you could tell that she was deliberately trying to raise her in-ring level at that point too. All of it was really, really good. And Nikki Bella's promo next week could be all time. Let's not forget the last time she turned heel. She said to Brie Bella, why didn't you die in the womb? Which is a tremendous thing for a horrible person to say. Also totally flubbed up, and maybe we shouldn't have done it, but we did. And there's no going back now. But again, fun stuff and story-worthy stuff, headline-worthy stuff that we can talk about. And I can't see why this would go bad. Like, Stephanie Vaquer should win, but I think Stephanie Vaquer beating a bad Nikki Bella. And you know what? Nikki Bella could probably win by cheating and Stephanie wins it back in December or Royal Rumble, by the way. That's totally fine too. Once again, not everyone has to hold the championship for 10 years, but it was well executed stuff. And whoever came up with that top idea, icing on the cake, right? Sometimes you need that dumb moment or that dumb visual just to justify something or cement it. That's what this was. Genuinely, really good. And I'm so locked into the John Cena last time is now tournament because I want to know who's going to win. It's ridiculous we don't have brackets. I understand that WWE wants surprises, but if you're going to do a tournament, you've got to give us brackets, right? You just do, as far as I'm concerned. Did not like that we just revealed Gunther's going to be taking on Javon Evans. I think when you've got a return, even though we've got 2 other surprises, have 3 surprises. If you are lucky enough to fall into the opportunity to have more than 2, I think you should do it. We didn't do it. I'll get over it. Javon Evans is going to get killed, so I hope we come up with a good plan here. Do not squash Javon Evans. That would be ridiculous. Javon Evans is quite clearly the future. He's brilliant. It's also Solo Sikoa versus a mystery person, and we also know it's LA Knight versus a mystery person. As far as I'm concerned, those 2 slots, one will be Joe Hendry and one will be Matt Cardona. The way you get out of the Joe Hendry one is I think Ethan Page and Chelsea Green will screw him over because they're feuding, of course. And the Matt Cardona one, I booked it differently. I don't know. I guess he's not signed to WWE, so I'm sure he can lose. I would imagine Solo Sikoa versus Matt Cardona and LA Knight versus Joe Hendry, just because then it's babyface versus babyface, but it can be the heels, Ethan Page, that screw him over. And it's a good effort for NXT, and it's well timed. Could be totally wrong, but the Gunther one was weird. I kind of looked around like, what? However, the tournament is great. Damian Priest versus Rusev was a bit by the numbers, and Rusev beat him way too easily, but I'd never seen them fight before, and I was genuinely intrigued to see who was going to win. So was Shinsuke versus Rusev. I think not Rusev, versus Sheamus. I thought that was the better match if you were going to compare them, but of course comparison is the thief of joy. Even if we have seen Nakamura and Sheamus before, it's not when Sheamus decided he wanted to be New Japan from 2014. I would say he probably held back a little bit here. Am I being unfair? I'm probably being unfair. They did kick each other's ass, don't get me wrong. And obviously Shinsuke went for the Kinshasa, wasn't able to do it. Actually, the bro was horrendous. What am I even talking about? I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have said that. I retract that statement. He gets to 1, 2, 3 and they embrace afterwards. We don't have brackets, so I don't know. But I would hazard a guess it's Sheamus versus Rusev, and Sheamus is going to get his win back after he lost to Rusev. I thought we were going to do that with the IC title. I don't see how we're going to do that now. But it was just good. And again, I think it's so easy for you to buy in, and it's so easy for you to decide this is a big deal. Because even if Solo Sikoa won, I'm a big fan of Solo Sikoa, he gets to be the last guy to fight John Cena. There is so much to that. You can build a career on it in many ways, given that even if you did lose to John Cena, you can talk about it all the time. So it was just good. And again, especially during Damian Priest and Rusev, they just got the bad placement because the fans were so dead from cheering for John Cena. It still worked, and I still cared about the result. And ultimately, that's what all wrestling needs to be. Do you care about what's happening? Oh, you do. Everyone did a good job. And of course, we got the men's war games all sorted out as well. It was just CM Punk and Logan Paul doing a promo off. They said what you would thought they would have said. Out comes Division, so then out comes Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes was a nice surprise. He got a big pop as well. And then later on in the back, they go to Adam Pearce, like, we want war games. So William Regal walked in and went, war games, because you have to say war games. In order to have war games, I said this on my Ups and Downs review over at What Culture Wrestling. Of course, I freelance for them. It's mad if you've only just started watching wrestling in the last month. You'd be like, who is this British man? I said, war games. But you do have to have some lore in wrestling for nerds like you and I, so it was good. So it does mean, obviously, we've got Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Bron Breakker. We've got Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, and we've got CM Punk. LA Knight feels interestingly kept out of all of this. And he had one of those Netflix promos, and WWE cut him off. So, interesting. But again, there are still 2 slots here. Now, I think the 2 slots in the babyface side are going to be Roman Reigns and John Cena. I really do. I think we're going to go all-star lineup. Predicted that on Monday's video, so please do go check that out as well. I'll try and make sure a card pops up on the screen. Could be totally wrong. Again, John Cena could go in whatever way he wanted. Although he did embrace Cody Rhodes here, but he also embraced Rey Mysterio. Like, I'm sorry, I beat up your boy. But he's an asshole. And I would imagine on the bad guy side, I think it is going to be Austin Theory and Brock Lesnar, unless LA Knight goes heel. Jimmy Uso's not around. He feels like he's deliberately been taken off TV, so we don't think he's going to be in this. I think he's at home chilling with Naomi as well, who of course is pregnant. Way more important than anything of wrestling. Austin Theory's a weird one, because it kind of feels like Logan Paul just joined. But I don't know. I'm only going on because it was a rumor, and at the moment those rumors seem to be coming true. I don't really know who else it could be, but we wait and see. Either way, it's a pretty good lineup either way. And either way, it's a pretty good lineup either way. This is what you tune in for. I will try and do better. The Logan Paul stuff is okay. I think Logan Paul is very, very good at this. He should never be a babyface as far as I'm concerned. My issue is sometimes he comes out and just says, I don't say generic stuff, but I just think there's more we could do with him without falling into a particular lane. That could just be on me. He should be in War Games, though. It will work well. I think it was the tsunami thing. That's what got me. He said he got tsunami and it hurt so much. That's why he wanted to join the Vision. Well, why does he have magical ribs? Everyone else gets taken off TV, but Logan Paul was barely selling it at the end of Raw last week, and he definitely wasn't selling it here. I think maybe I'm being too much of a geek with that. If you are a wrestler and for some reason you watch my videos, you're like, man, that's the nerdiest thing ever. But as Scott Steiner said on social media the other day, like, you're not allowed to have it. He didn't say that. But it was all like, man, all these people with their pins on the internet never stepped in the ring. I wrestle every single weekend, right? I've won titles, I've lost titles, I've been squashed. Sometimes I have decent matches. So I'm less of a nerd, but also more of a nerd, more of a mark. Use that word. It's like wrestling threw up on me. But it'll be a good War Games match. And War Games is in 2 weeks, so we need to have the teams. We know what the women's teams are. That was pretty much cemented in the main event, and this was sort of in the middle of the show. We got it done too. Otherwise, it's Maxine Dupree versus Becky Lynch next week for the IC title. I think AJ Lee is going to return. Maxine cut a good promo here. I quite liked it. Like, I'm not ready, but no one can never be ready. So that's actually a good message to send across. And I think that was pretty much everything. I don't think I've forgotten anything, although I probably have. A large chunk of the show was taken up with John Cena, as it should have been. That's what the fans were there to see. They're the reason they dropped their money. So everything else kind of ticked by as well as it could do, but it was a very good episode of Raw compared to not recent output in terms of just Monday nights, but wrestling in general. I thought it was a cut above. So if you do watch my videos before checking it out, definitely watch the John Cena stuff. And if you have a couple of hours, you want to sort of even zoom through it on 2 speed, I think you'll have a good time. The fans do go up and down, ironically, but it's because they do wear themselves out. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Couple of thumbs, good Raw, pumped for Survivor Series. So we did the right thing. Now, yes, I want to know what you thought about this because there's probably things that I'm not thinking about and I've probably forgotten something too, which will make me mad. Oh, I had the AJ Styles thing as well. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee trying to come up with a name. With Adam Pearce. All right. Go do that at home. We're going to do it on the show. Like the video, share the video. Please do subscribe. Please do hit the notification bell and the video on the screen. Give that a click. Otherwise, it is growmind.com/Simon. You go to their website, use code Simon, get money off. Ships worldwide. They're really good. There'll be a deal later today as well. There's a deal every single Monday. Patreon.com/Simon316 for watch-alongs and extra content. Simon316 to yell at me. Everyone does that anyway. And a picture of me with long hair on Instagram. People think it's AI. Of course it's not. I'm not a loser. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. Otherwise, it is TikTok for dumb, silly videos. We're all kind of segueing now. And it is Cameo for Christmas messages, holiday messages, whatever you want to do. And yeah, Big Cartel for t-shirts. Otherwise, I hope you have a terrific Tuesday. Thank you very much for joining me. Keep enjoying wrestling because it's meant to be fun. And that's what we need in our life, right? A distraction from the crazy world. See you tomorrow.